Welcome to Everybody's Always Right, the second edition, and I'm with Os the boss. Os, can you talk a little bit, please, so I can make sure the mics are working?
Sure. Can you
Ah,
hear me?
there he is. So, welcome to Everybody's Always Right, buddy.
Thank you.
I usually do a nice intro, but I have to admit that this time I kind of skipped over it. So, if anybody out there likes business and if anybody out there wants to be an entrepreneur, so you want to listen to this conversation because us is the true definition of an entrepreneur, right? Three businesses. He started from scratch and he's still pedaling like anybody else. He's doing very well, but he's very conscious that highs and lows are just part of the business. So I always try to have guests that I find interesting, people that I find smart, that I find driven, and so Os, whose real name is how do you pronounce it?
Hossein.
Hossein.
Exactly.
Hossein. There you go.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm not so bad.
You're very good.
For a French Canadian, it's not so bad. So yeah, and so welcome, Os, my man. I'm very happy to have you on my brand new show.
Love it. Thank you. It's my pleasure.
So listen, I know you are originally from Iran.
hmm
Didn't wasn't easy coming in because you're not at your first podcast. So obviously, I researched a little bit, not too much, but a little bit. So I know you had a bit of a interesting beginning to coming to Canada. If
Yeah.
you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. I was born in Iran, like you said. I came to Canada. I was 8 years old. Had to learn French. English came after by itself. And then it was rough. At the beginning, it was very rough because, if you're not used to, like, I knew nothing about the language. It wasn't as if somebody that has a little base and then learns it better.
Yeah, because
That,
like people coming from Lebanon usually have a little bit of French in
there you go.
over there, right?
Exactly. With
Right.
us, it was nothing. And I actually learned French watching Passepartout.
Really?
Yeah.
Man,
Great.
you could have done worse, man. I love that show. So it proves you're younger than I am, though, because I it arrived like right when I was hitting my teens. It started, and it
Really?
lasted long, like 20 years, I think. Yeah,
Crazy, yeah.
yeah. So how old are you, if I may ask?
41. Just
You're
turned 41.
41.
Yeah.
Congratulations, happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you.
So we're like 9 years different, so it's not so bad. I just
No.
turned 50 this year, the big 50.
Nice.
Yes, and it's going to be a very special year for me.
When is midlife? Is it 40 or 50?
Listen. I'm still a teenager. I don't know when the middle. Oh, you mean the crisis? I don't know. I, I don't think I've ever left the. I don't know. I guess 28. Until I see myself in the mirror, brother, I have no idea how old I am. And
Yeah.
then in the morning, I wake up, I brush my teeth, and I look at that guy and I say, "What the are you doing in my house? Who are you? Where's my 30-year-old self?"
Yeah.
So I don't know. No midlife crisis for me. I've been riding high my entire life, and I think that's the life of an entrepreneur. We don't have time to grow old, man. We don't have time at all. We just have
Yeah.
to plow through life at high speed all the time.
You're right.
So one of the reasons I wanted to invite you to the show is, first of all, you have a specific persona, and you have a very positive attitude, but you're very realistic in the way you say things. So you don't pretend that life is easy, and I like that about you. But at the same time, things are going well. I think they are, at least. You give the impression that they are, and though I'm sure the COVID kind of hit you hard like everybody else,
Yeah.
and I like that about you. So where does this attitude come from? Is it from your background because you've been hustling all your life, or why are you so positive, man?
I think you know what? I don't know if you mentioned it in the intro what you wrote. Actually, I liked your research. It was very good. At 17, I had open heart surgery, and I think that makes you see life differently. I never took it for granted because I knew at a young age that I had a problem with my heart. I couldn't do any sports. If I would run for like 5 minutes, my lips would turn blue. So you know that aspect when you grow up as a teenager. Let's say my son is into every kind of sport that you could imagine, and he's good at all of them. And I wasn't good at any of them because I had no practice and I couldn't even keep up. So at 17, unexpectedly, 3-day notice, I was told that I need to have open heart surgery. And the way it happened was we were at one of my dad's friend's house, which we call uncle because I have no family here. So we were at my uncle's house and we were in the pool. I was swimming and suddenly it felt as if I was gargling water. And I noticed that I had a hard time breathing. So I got out of the pool and I still remember going up the stairs on the balcony to see my mom. And she was inside, so I'm knocking on the patio door. And just her face, when she looked at me, I knew something was wrong, but I didn't, I never imagined that something's wrong with my heart. And I just remember she opened the door. She screamed out to my older sister to call 911. And the lower I would go, the more I could breathe. So by the time the ambulance got there, I was lying down on the floor. And when they got there, they put the oxygen mask on me. And to see if you're all there or not, they ask you questions. And I was getting so angry that she kept asking me what my name was when I couldn't talk.
Well, I know. Yeah, I have a similar story. Not as bad as you, but I know the feeling of getting aggravated.
I'm like, why is she asking me again? Like, I can't answer no more. So they brought me to the hospital, which to my mom's persistence, they brought me to the children's because that's where my doctor was. And they noticed that all these years that they kept saying, everything's okay, you don't need surgery. My blood pressure was fine. Yes, I had like a little murmur, but they're like, why do surgery when he could still be normal? So all these years, that little blood that was leaking was going into my lungs. So that gargling was years of blood accumulating into my lungs.
Are you serious?
Yes, sir.
So the fact that you were lying down and breathing better is like a level, right?
Exactly.
It would just take like splat, like I don't know how to say, but right, like a level. So the little bubble would just move, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
So the air would be able to go through.
Yeah. So then they give me I don't remember, I think like 2-3 pills. And within those days, the blood like came out of the lungs. And then that's when they called to say, okay, well, you have to have surgery. And I said, what kind of surgery? Because I've been in hospitals all my life. And I said, what kind of surgery? And
back then, you mean?
Yeah, back then, like I did an angio, which is a camera that they put through your artery to go look at your heart. I had 2 of those done already. I had other complications because of my heart, so I had other surgeries. I don't like hospitals, not that I don't like doctors, but to me, I associate it to a problem that I had, so I never liked it.
Makes
so
sense.
when they said open heart surgery, I flipped out because a case like I had was 1 in 200,000. And when you go to the hospital, now imagine I'm still 17, so I'm at the children's, but this big fucking guy that's in the children's hospital, and they're like, well, you need surgery. And then my parents had to sign off because I wasn't an adult yet. And there's a 10% chance of not making it.
I mean, that's 10% is a lot.
And to me, for a guy that had 1 at, out of 200,000 and ended up getting it, to me was, well, I'm dead. There's no way. How the hell am I going to make it out of this? And I remember saying that to the doctor. I said, well, I don't like these odds. I don't want to do it. He said, well, you have 2 options, Haas. He goes, 1 is 100% that you're dead, or 2 is 10%. So it's not a gamble at this point.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, so it's pretty freaky that, you wake up, my chest was all stapled because they can't even stitch it. It's opened up so much. And within 7 days, I was home. Like, I remember they said, Haas, if you don't walk, you can't go home. The second day I got up to walk.
You knew where you were going.
I wanted to go home.
Yeah.
It was a long recovery. I stayed home for about 2.5 months.
Wow.
Yeah, but then slowly got back to it and then started working out and started to see, I could do different things now and pushing the limit. I think that's where the positivity came in because, you could complain about your health all you want to me, but I don't think your heart was out of your chest on the table for 45 minutes, getting stitched up and put back in you. I had 2 surgeries on the same day. They did a 14-hour surgery. And then what they did is they closed it all back up, and then they do like an echo to say if everything's okay. And I noticed that there was still some murmur left. So they went back to see my parents, saying, listen, 2 options. We reopen now, or you might have to come back in 10 years. And my dad said, reopen now because he's not going to come back in 10 years. There's no way you're going to make him do it again. So there was another 7-hour surgery to fix it completely. So imagine the doctor that did it for 21 hours. It's crazy.
No, I am impressed by and okay. So Side note about that: 21
Yeah.
hours with a mask on.
Hmm. Good point.
Complain about going to the freaking dipreneur with your mask on now, please. Please complain.
Yeah, seriously.
But yeah, that's insane. But so, is it clear in your mind? Do you remember it? Did you wake up during the operation? Because, like, I got an operation, really nothing compared to yours,
Yeah,
but they gave me like three those huge pills, like that put you to sleep. They gave me three.
yeah,
Then I'd wake up. Then they gave me the shots. Then I'd wake up again. And in the middle of operation, I woke up again. I don't know. I think I'm hyperactive, but nothing would do. And apparently, I woke up, sat upright, and looked at the doctor and said, "So are we done?"
really.
And then went back knocked out.
That's crazy. I woke
Yeah.
up in one of them. One of my angios, I woke up and I remember it. But no, this one, no. Thank God I didn't wake up on this one.
Yeah, holy shit. Can you imagine with the heart they're working on your heart, you're waking up and you're looking, you're like, wow. Wow, that's insane. So but back then you have to admit there were a lot less people in hospitals. So you had a chance that maybe some kids today would have a lot of a harder time to go through it because there's so many people and hospitals are like jam packed. Plus, you can get sick from the hospital now. Back then, you didn't have that problem.
Yeah, good point. Yeah,
Open heart surgery is a huge factor. My brother just had open heart surgery. He's past 60, and he's a horse. He's like you, he's a big guy, except that he's always been super strong, super fit. He never saw it coming. He never ever saw it coming. He thought he was like nothing's ever going to break me, but something did.
right.
Something, life has this tendency of letting you know that you're not invincible.
Oh, yeah.
So I get your positive attitude now. So obviously, it was a new lease on life for you.
Yeah.
You
It's
pretty
like,
much figured, holy shit, I can do whatever I want now.
yeah,
Wow, that's awesome. That's a good beginning to a great story, man.
thank
So
you.
it makes sense, but it's hard for it to go through. Your mom must have been freaking out while you were on that bed.
Yeah, yeah. I still remember my mom crying when they took me in, and I knew what she's thinking too. You know what I mean? Like, is he gonna come back or not? It's
Yeah,
really, 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 really scary. It's like when they say when you have something, you psych yourself out. Don't psych yourself out. Well, this is a different story. Like, you are psyched out, and there's nobody could tell you,
no,
just relax, you'll be fine. You don't know if it's gonna be fine or not.
no,
But
no. You're
yeah,
absolutely right. It's like kids, like with your kids or my kids. That's another thing, ladies and gentlemen, that us and I have in common. We absolutely adore our kids. That's pretty much our life. Everything else is bonus.
yeah, it's true.
But it's the same thing, right? Like people that, oh, don't worry, your kids are tough. Oh, don't worry. But in your mind, you go like, I know they're tough, but there are things they don't have to go through. It's not because they're tough then that I should put them in those situations.
Yeah,
So I think that is the only time I'm nervous. Whenever it has to do with them, then I get that uneasy feeling. Other than that, I go through life pretty simply.
yeah.
So let's get back to you. Um, so that's where you get your joie de vivre. When you got out of you went to school. Did you go to university
No,
or
actually, you know what I
college?
did? I was in high school when I came out of the hospital,
Okay,
and because I missed 3 months of school, I had to do my exams in summer to see if I could pass to go to college,
okay,
and it went pretty well. So I was good in school. I never liked school all my life, but I was good at it.
okay.
I never studied. It was just register when I would listen.
Photographic memory, maybe.
Yes, yes. If I gotta see it, like, you remember when you asked me, "Hoss, do you want to do online? You want to come? I'd rather come and see you." I'm always, if it's there's that presence,
Proximity.
yeah, that causes me to remember stuff and register it. But no, after that, I stopped. I didn't
We'll do
go.
it though. Don't worry about it. For sure, we're meeting. But
I did. I went to college for like 2 months. Then I said it's not for me. I don't want to be here anymore. And I
what
left.
would you try? Where'd you go?
You know what? I did something my parents wanted me to do. So
What was it?
every person wants a doctor. So
Oh,
I say, you know
oh,
what? I'm gonna go into anesthesia, and from the beginning I knew I didn't like it. So I started 2 weeks. I would say after 2 weeks, I already knew I wasn't gonna go back to school. The difference was in high school there was that encadrement. You know what I mean?
right.
That if I would try to escape, well, the teacher would bring you back. And as soon as I got to college, I noticed nobody gives a shit. So I walked out of there and I said I'm not going back. But I still remember the conversation with my father. I have an older sister, and she was in college too, and she changed programs twice. So she did 2 years and then changed, and then 2 years. And
But
when I
she stuck
started,
around, so he must have been happy at least of that.
yeah, but to that, she dropped out the same time I said I want to drop out.
Oh my
Yeah,
God,
yeah.
your dad must have been freaking
Well,
out.
that's what we thought because my sister said, let's tell them together. I said, all right, but I didn't know how my dad would react. My dad is a very calm guy, uses examples and logic examples to make a point. There was never because I told you you have to do this. So when we sat down and talked to him, I still remember he just listened very calmly, and I was surprised that like he didn't get up or yell or nothing. And he said, "Listen, he goes, the world needs all kinds of people. You could end up being a garbage man, or you're going to be an engineer. The world needs both. You decide what you want to be in life. But," he said, "we're going to sit down again in 10 years. And if you're in the same place, you screwed up. But if you're somewhere better, then okay, school wasn't made for you." And 10 years later, hey, I was already in business. I had a kid already. Things were going really well. So it wasn't for me. I'm not saying I really hope my kids stay in school because I think if I
Yeah,
had the schooling, it would give me that advantage.
that extra hump there. Yeah.
Exactly.
So I'm a little bit like you, right? So I ended up leaving grade secondaire 3, so grade 10, and
Really?
cat actually, yeah, grade 11. I left, opened a company, then worked for my dad, and then I went to lived in the States, took a car, went around the States, came back. Then I said, you know what? I want to learn marketing. So I went to HSC,
Hmm.
but with no high school diploma. So it's called like adult school, right? Then I said, well, I want a diploma. I, I just did all this shit and I can't tell anybody. So they go, well, you need your high school and your college for us to give that certificate value. So I go, okay. There's no way in hell I'm going back to high school. I don't care. I don't care if you're offering me a doctorate. I'm not going back to high school. So they go, no, but if you go to college, they'll give you an equivalence. So, okay. So I went to Marie Victorin, did a year there. And like you, there's like college is dangerous. It's like a way for people to, you kind of create dropouts in college.
Hmm.
It's too easy. It's too easy to just not do anything. Anyway, so I ended up just doing whatever the hell I wanted to do. But at least I have my marketing background, so I'm happy with that. But like I have no huge diplomas, but now I have 30 years of experience, so that's
Hmm.
hard to beat.
100%.
So, what was the first things? Usually, guys like us, we start in sales. What was the first thing you went for?
Well, you know what? My dad had gotten me a job. I was a delivery boy for Chalet Suisse at that time.
Oh, do
Uh,
they still exist? No, I don't.
in
I swear to God,
Toronto.
right?
In Toronto, they're
Oh,
there.
really?
Yeah, yeah.
It-
So
it-
that was my first job.
wow.
And my second job was at Discount Car Rentals.
Right.
Uh, and that's
Where?
where
Which one?
Dorval at the airport.
Okay.
And I started by washing cars outside in the winter. Within 3 months, I was already doing reservations. And the sales part of that started when we would sell insurance where we would get a bonus. And that came so easy to me to adjust on how to sell it that my ratio was like 90% of warranties sold. And I started getting bonuses. I met someone through there, a client that I sold that was impressed, which is after that I went to Aviron.
Okay.
Yeah, 18 years old, I'm selling these private classes, the DOP, at $18,000, $22,000.
But you don't have one.
But I don't have one. And
I love that.
the only thing the owner asked me is like, "Do you have a high school diploma?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Okay, that's all you need. Come in here." So when I went and they said, "Okay, you can have the job," I said, "Well, I need to take each class for 2 weeks." They said, "Well, what do you mean?" I said, "Well, I got to go to the mechanic class for 2 weeks, then the le soudeur, then the electric." They said, "Why?" I said, "Well, how could I sell something I don't know?" So I went and I learned a little bit what they're teaching them,
I love that.
and then start selling it. And within the first, it was 2 semesters. Within the first semester, I beat in sales the guy that was there for like 14 years, and they said beginner's luck. The next one, I doubled his sales, and then I went to, so is this still beginner's luck, or I don't know what I'm doing? But I was working nonstop. I was working 7 a.m. I
But
was
the secret is there. You said it, and I think I've said it in a previous podcast, even though I don't have that many so far done. By the way, thank you for being one of the first ones.
my pleasure.
Takes courage. Um, but I always tell people, every business I've ever done, I was there from the ground up, and I've had a lot of businesses, but I always start. Whoop, yeah, I always start at the very, very beginning, right? So I'm going to work with like if I have to clean the floors, I will of my own company. But I need to know what I'm selling. I need to know what I'm doing, and I don't want my employees to tell me, "Well, no, you can't do that." I want to know if I can do it or not.
Mhm.
So I think that's what your edge was. Your edge was A, you learned what the product was, and B, once you master your product, it's a lot easier to sell.
Of course, 100%.
So Aviron, was that a good experience? Did you enjoy that?
It was really, really fun. And the reason why I stopped working there, um, I don't want to say my ego. I think that there's something about me that if I'm right, and if I know I am right, you could cut off my arms. I won't say that you're right. And what happened was that I got sick, and I got really sick to a point that still today, before catching a cold, I get these horrible chest pains.
Oh, okay.
And to a point that I can't breathe. If I take deep breaths, it's just this pressure that comes up. Now, I don't know if it's just because of what happened to me before or it's just the
Right.
way I am. So I was really sick, so I didn't go to work for a week. And that week was the week that I was actually very busy at work. When I came back, the way I negotiated my salary was that it's a yearly salary. So if I'm there or not, you got to pay me my salary. And then it was commission based.
Right.
And the owner didn't want to pay me. He said that he told everybody there that he won't pay me, so he cannot pay me. I said, well, that's your problem. You told him that you don't want to pay me. You shouldn't have said that. I said, and why would I lie if I'm based on making money and
Right.
if I'm not here? I said, and here's the paper. Like, I was really sick. And he said, I will pay you, but you have to pretend I didn't pay you. I said, nope. I said, if you do that, I'm leaving. He's like, okay, leave. I was sure he was bluffing. I went and I packed up my office. He never came after me. I left. I quit.
Wow.
So I
That's
quit.
so it's not your ego; it's his ego.
It's his ego. Yeah. Good
Yeah.
point.
So ego was the reason you left. It's just his ego.
Yeah.
Like sales were not important. His business was not important enough to keep you.
Yeah.
Right. When you
Yeah.
think about it, I mean, if you bring in the numbers, he's not keeping you. He's an idiot.
Yeah.
Wow.
But that was like one of the good things. You know what I mean? Like everything happens for a reason. And I went home and I remember, and I wasn't living at home at that time anymore. And my dad called. He goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, I don't know what happened." So, but I quit, and I quit without wanting to quit. I was forced to quit. And
Wow.
when I told him the story, he goes, "No," he goes, "You didn't do the wrong thing. It's the right thing you did."
You did.
And it took maybe a month. I applied at a job at Bell, not knowing what the job was. You know when they used to do these mass interviews, so you just show up. And I remember going, and my dad said, "What's the interview for?" I said, "I don't know." He's like, "What do you mean?" So I don't know what the job is. I said, "I just know it's at Bell. I'm gonna go try it." And it was in telemarketing. And let me tell you, that's
Was it
where
Sigma back then? Was it Bell Sigma?
no, I remember just being Bell. I don't remember.
Okay. Yeah. Because I think they
And
had a marketing division at some point.
telemarketing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's when I learned how to sell. They gave us like maybe a 2-week class on open, ask the right questions, ask open questions, and then we were supposed to be like in this pouponnière for about 3 months. So it's all the newbies would be there, so they could track them, see if they're good enough or not. And
Wow.
telemarketing, it's such a high role. Like you're switching employees left and right.
Absolutely.
And within a month, I was top in 6,000 reps.
Wow.
And I still remember selling, and I would put myself in the story in my head. If I would be calling you, I would ask you all kinds of questions that had nothing to do with what I'm trying to sell you, just to be able to imagine what your situation is or where you are at home. And then I would make you do things that people actually do it. I still remember one was, at that time, like l'afficheur, the call display at home was an
Yeah, it
option.
was a huge thing. Yeah. It's almost
Exactly.
$5 a month. I remember that. Yeah.
Crazy. I remember it by 25 cents a day. That was because in my head was that.
That's
That's how
even
my
more expensive than $5 a month.
I remember talking to this lady, and I could imagine where she is at home, and I knew she was next to the kitchen. So I said, "Could you please go sit at the kitchen table?" She said, "Why?" I said, "Well, try it, then I'm going to tell you why." So she went, and I said, "How much do you hate telemarketing?" She says, "I hate them." I said, "Wouldn't you like to know that I was calling you?" She's like, "What do you mean?" I said, "If you knew that I was calling, then you wouldn't pick up the phone." She's like, "Yeah, but I don't want to pay that much." I said, "I understand that." I said, "This morning when you left to go to work, are you a coffee drinker?" She said, "Yes." I said, "Could you open up your purse, please?" She says, "Why?" I said, "I want you to reach out on your wallet. I want to see something." She says, "Okay." So she opened. I said, "How much change do you have in there?" She's like, "A lot." I said, "I only need a quarter in there. Every day, just a quarter in there. And then you could see next time that I call and you don't have to pick up the call." And she
Wow.
bought it.
but but it made sense, right? It's not like you were bullshitting. You were
Oh,
like a lot of pressure salesmen, they get good sales, but after a while their sales go down because it's bullshit. Eventually they can't spew the, the bullshit anymore. But
Yeah,
if you're telling the truth, it's true, man. I mean, it's true. She could have ignored the call if she would have had it.
yeah.
And it's true that it's just a quarter. But how many times did we get caught by that quarter? You and I and everybody else, right? That quarter accumulates really quickly. It
What's funny is that you can't pull that on me. Then it won't work.
won't
That's
work.
when I'll shut you down. I'm like, hey, I know where you're going with it. Let me
Yeah.
let me bring you back.
Yeah, now
Uh,
it's $18 a month for Netflix.
it's true. It's
It's
true.
just as bad, man.
Yeah, yeah. So my sales thing started there. I didn't like Telemar. I hated it. What I didn't like in that aspect was that I was just a number. Even though I was one of the top ones, it was still calculated how many times I would log off, how many breaks I would take, because you could just press, so that you don't get the calls anymore. And the reason why I was do that is that we were capped, and I still remember I was capped at $1,100 commission a month. So even though I would sell more than everybody around because we're in cubicles, they wouldn't pay me more after. And I kept telling the guy, I said, if I hit my numbers after 2 weeks,
Yeah, you
and
should have at least a
that
bonus.
I said that guy's not hitting it. Let me get his commission too. It's well, it doesn't work that way. So well, somebody should make it work that way. It's not fair. And then I said, I want to go work in a store. I don't want to work on the phone anymore. And because it's such a big machine, there was like procedures that no, you got to work at this department for 18 months. Then you could apply to switch. And I knew I wasn't going to last 18 months. And one day I was just driving in Laval on Saint Martin Street, and I saw a Bell store. At that time, I did not know that there was franchisees and corporate stores.
Yeah, they were both. Yeah.
Yeah, but you couldn't
They
tell.
had just I think they had just switched, right? Because at the beginning it was only corporate, no? Or was it only franchise at the beginning?
Only corporate, then it became a lot
Right.
more franchise. Then it switched again. They bought out a lot of franchisees to make it become corporate, and now it's back to being half half.
Is it? Is it still now it's half half? I
There's,
thought it was
there's a
only
lot.
corporate.
There's
Okay.
a lot of franchisees.
Okay.
So I went into that store and I thought I was a smartass. And I said, listen, I work in telemarketing. I'm really good, and I want to apply. Can I apply here? And the guy's like, yeah, sure.
Why
So,
not?
so you're the manager? He's like, yeah, I am. Okay, so I give him my CV, and I get a call like 2 days later to go to the head office to meet the VP of sales. And I showed up, and that's when I knew that it wasn't Bell anymore because outside it said another name. So I go in. I said, I don't think I'm at the right place. No, 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 you are. Come in, come in. So I went to meet this guy, super nice guy. We talked a little bit, and at that time, the moneymaker was actually what I was selling, which was the home services. And in the stores, they didn't have any experience with that. So they wanted what I had. And
Right.
that's when I learned that it was a franchisee. And one of my questions was, am I capped in my commission? And the guy said, no. I said, okay, could you teach me the commission so I could see how much I could make? As he's saying it, it doesn't make sense. There's no way they're going to pay me this much. So then he said, go to Carrefour Laval and the one on Saint Martin. Choose which one you want to work. Now imagine, I'm 19 years old, cocky as hell. I show up at Saint Martin and I meet the manager that I gave my CV to. And he was like an uptight guy. I knew already he's not good in sales. I sat down with him. I talked a bit. I said, okay, well, I'm going to go to Carrefour Laval and then I'll choose where I want to work.
Right.
He goes, no, I choose if I want you to work with me. So that, no, not really. He said, I'll be back. I went to Carrefour Laval. I did not like that manager. So I got up and I left. So I called
Okay.
the VP. I said, I want to work on Saint Martin. He said,
Similar.
okay, go tell him. So I went back. I said, listen, I want to work here. He said, okay, well, I'll see you with the VP. I said, no, it's done. Like, here's the phone. I gave him the phone. I said, VP is like, no, he wants to work there. Make him work there. Within a month, I was number one. There was around 78 employees. And I could not believe, and I still remember I used to keep all my receipts. So if I would serve you, I would keep my receipt. When you would leave, I would write how much I think I'm expecting to get.
Whoa, that's
And
smart.
and I had a weekly thing. So there was the first week how much I made. Then the second week I'll start over to try to gauge why, if I'm lower, why am I lower? What I got to change. And then
Wow.
I went to see my manager at the end of the month, and I said, listen, I don't know if it makes sense, but I think I made this much. So I showed it to him. I said, does it make sense to you? He's like, I don't know. That's when I knew that it's the wrong guy
Yeah.
being my boss,
Yeah.
So I waited 3 weeks for the commission to come in, and it was to the T exactly what I was expecting.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe it. 19 years old and I'm making like 6,000 a month. And then it just went up and up and up. And within, I was 19 then. At 23, I was the youngest manager. Opened up a store in Montreal with the owner,
Right.
for the owner, I might say. Um, then I became a coach for all the managers and all the reps, which at that time there was 100 reps at this point. I could, I would teach them how to talk to people to actually show interest. And if the client could relate to you, the sales aspect of it goes away and it
Exactly.
becomes about trusting you. And I
Yep.
said, don't ever screw anyone. Be honest. When they come in, find what is their need. Now, maybe some people don't know what their need is. That's for you to find out what their need is.
Yeah,
And
ask
then
the right questions.
you pitch it to them. And things went well I stayed there for 6 years. Amazing owner, still friends with the owner. After 6 years, the VP of sales was let go, and I asked for the position. And I was 24 years old at the time. And the owner said, "Give me a year. You're too young." I said, "I'm not going to give you a year. I am not too young." I said, "I did everything I did up to now. I had nothing to do with my age. So the age is not important. I could still do way better jobs than anybody else." And he insisted that I have to be patient. And I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait. So there's another franchisee that picked me up. Out of respect to the owner of this one, I went and I told him, "Listen, I'm leaving." He said, "Where are you going?" I said, "I'm going to this franchisee." He said, "Haas, you're going to get screwed. Don't go there." And my answer to him was, well, just like the doctor told me, my
Yeah.
answer to him was, if I stay here, I'm getting screwed. If I go there, maybe I'm not getting screwed. But I know what I'm
Not
getting
taking the
into.
risk, right?
And he was right.
You got screwed.
I got screwed.
Well, he was right about two things, actually. He
Tell me.
was right about you're too young.
Mhm,
Well, actually, he wasn't right that you were too young, but he was right to try to teach you patience.
mhm.
I think that what he was trying to tell you is that to be a vice president, you need to have a certain amount of maturity, and you didn't have it quite yet. So you were amazing, you were all that, but you didn't have the maturity for such an important position.
Good point.
And then, well, usually we don't, at that age, none of us do, especially for making money, because at that age, I was making money also. And I started my business at 25, my biggest business at 25. And same as you, like nothing could stop me. In my mind, I was just the best. There was no question about it. Like
Yeah.
nobody else did what I did, right? So I was the best. But yeah, that's what that's karma, man. You didn't listen, karma hit you.
Yeah, but you know what? The best thing out of that came because when I went to the other dealer, I was so good at what I was doing that he was already one of the top stores in Canada, and I took him to another level. And then we opened up another location, and I did it for him because he left on vacation. So I was involved in the process from building it to opening it. So I did the whole thing. And when we opened up and he came back, we sat down and we talked a bit. And I was very, like I told you, if I know I'm right, there's no
Right.
way I'm going to give in. But he wasn't used to that and he didn't like it. He didn't like the fact that I would answer back. And if he would say, "Haas, do this," I would say, "Well, no, because of this, there's no point." To a point that I still remember one time he said, "But Haas, it's my business, it's my stores." I said, "Well, that's your problem. You run it. You brought me in." I said, "It's my way." 10 days before my wedding, he sat me down and he said, "I got to talk to you." I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, Hans, I want to do what you're doing." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, the job you're doing, I want to do it." I said, "Okay, then what am I going to do?" He's like, "I don't know."
Oh wow, nice guy. Was he a little
That's,
bit narcissistic, maybe?
I think so, maybe. Micromanager, which doesn't work with me. Um, and then I still remember at the end he
10
said,
days after, before your wedding.
yeah, before I left, I still remember he said, "You're not made to work for anyone." And he was right. After that, I never worked for anyone again.
So yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
So as much as I was
yeah,
really
yeah.
angry,
Wow.
really, really angry because he was coming to the wedding.
Was he there at the wedding?
No, he didn't come, but he
Oh,
had said he was coming, so he was supposed to come. And I went. We went on our honeymoon, and my wife said, "Don't even talk about it. Don't even think about it." It's okay. So for 2 weeks, we had a blast. We came back. In the franchisee world or in telecom at that time, the word would spread pretty quickly. And I had Rogers franchisees knocking on the door, come take over. And my answer was always no. They're like, you don't know what the offer is. I said, I don't want to work for anyone. It took 7 months to find my first deal to be able to purchase a store.
So
And
you instead of starting a brand new one, you found one that already had at least a bit of movement, and you went in and bought it.
so the way it works is that when it comes to Bell, let's say tomorrow, if you want to open up a store, you cannot. It's only people at that time was if you own the franchise, then you can open new ones.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm just gonna get rid of this. And or you would buy one, an existing one.
Right.
But if I want to sell, first bid is Bell. If Bell wants my stores, they could buy it from me.
Okay.
Second is the other franchisees. And third is if nobody wants it, then you could maybe somebody buy it from outside. But
Okay.
which ones do you think nobody wants?
The ones that don't work.
And
But
that's
the ones that don't work don't mean they don't have the potential. It could be the manager that's shitty.
exactly. And that's what I bought. I bought someone that was really, really good 20 years prior to that. So when I came in, he could not follow the trend, which at that time when I went in was BlackBerry. He was stuck in the flip phones and the basic plans. He didn't understand what the new stuff
The
were.
business part.
Exactly. So I came in and I bought that.
Did you start hitting the businesses because BlackBerry was very business? By the way, it's the second year in my life that I do not own a BlackBerry.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I still have it here somewhere, but yeah. So all the way to the latest version, I had it, and I always had also Androids and everything else, but I couldn't live without my BlackBerry, and I
Really?
miss my BlackBerry to this day.
I was
But
it was
yeah,
a phone. Yeah.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, listen, we opened up, and I still remember my wife did my business plan to present to Bell, and we took the guys.
So I don't want to cut you, but
Yeah,
it's been a couple of times that in those highs and lows you mention your wife, so it's nice. That means you had that dynamic where you knew you had her support. I mean, even though I obviously stressful times were stressful for her,
yeah,
but that's third time you mention your wife in one of your important steps in your life. That's pretty amazing.
yeah. I got lucky. She's very, very educated, very smart. Um, what she lacks, I have, which is the guts or the no fear.
Right,
She is paranoid about everything.
right.
But when it comes to numbers or let's say teaching the kids, she's above me by hundreds of times.
And who's the patient one?
I'm very patient.
Yeah.
I'm very calm. If I lose it, I lose it. That's the bad part of it. It takes a lot for me to lose it, but when I lose it, it's like seeing black. But it takes a lot to get me there.
So I'm sorry to tell you, but you're an artist. At heart, you're an artist. And that's why most lawyers are artists, and that's why most salespeople are artists. You could have a very, very mathematical mind, but you're an artist. And to you, business is an art. It's developing something, it's an
Mhm.
idea, it's something incredible, and you're painting your world. Just letting you know.
True.
If you ever wondered, you're an artist. Anybody asks, you're an artist. Your wife is keeping you grounded, but you're the
Yes,
artist.
thank you.
So let's get back to your story. So you
Yes,
bought your first store in Montreal or Laval again?
in Montreal. In Montreal.
Wow, where
Very
was it?
NDG. I still have it.
You still have your first store? How long ago was it?
14 years ago.
14. Wow.
Yeah, 14 years
Is
ago.
it still a good running store?
It's a bit more quiet because NDG, both sides closed. The Highway 20 closed down from coming from the west, and from
Right.
coming from downtown, they closed it. I've been riding that wave for 4 years, waiting for the exits to reopen up again. But in my area, I am the only one, and nobody could open up. So I like that. I like that store.
What shopping mall is there
It's
around there?
not. It's a street location.
No, I know, but what's the closest one?
Côte Saint Luc Mall, which I have a store in there too. Côte Saint Luc is the closest one to my
Okay.
Bell store.
But you live in Laval, right?
I live in Laval, and where I'm talking to you in, it's a new location we're opening up in Laval.
Well, congratulations.
Thank
So how
you.
many stores do you have?
This is the
For
third.
HDCom?
This is the
3?
third. Yeah, I've owned 5.
Right.
Sold some.
Okay.
And it's kind of like what you said before. I like to buy. I don't want to say garbage, but I like to buy businesses that are suffering a bit. having a
but
hard
have
time,
potential.
and then rebuild it up. Yeah,
Yeah, it's the challenge. You're challenge driven.
yeah. Then I get
You
bored.
exactly. Yeah, and that's be careful with that. It'll get you where I am at 50. um, yeah, be careful with that. Being challenge driven is amazing because we're always on adrenaline, but sometimes we make stupid mistakes
Yeah,
because we get lazy a little bit because the challenge isn't there anymore. And be careful. Stay grounded. Challenges are you'll have challenges every day.
true.
So now you have 3 stores. That's cool. But you also have your party business, I think.
Yeah, that's 10 years. We own
10
Jay's
years.
Party. Yeah,
Wow. Okay.
that started with my son. My son was 2 years old, and he was in love with Elmo. And my wife wanted to get a mascot to come to the party, and I think it was like $450 for half an hour. And I told my wife, "What are you crazy?" I said, "I'll buy the mascot, and I'll get someone to do it." So it cost me like $500 to buy the mascot, and I hired one of my employees' younger brother, and I said, "I'll give you $100 if you do it for 3 hours." And he said, "Perfect, I'll do it." And when he came to the party, my son was like absolutely in awe, that Elmo's there. But that's when we realized that 3 hours is torture. Because after an hour, this kid, when he took off that head, he's just drenched,
It's
soaked.
insane. And the more expensive the mascot is, the worse it is. And now they
Absolutely.
have like this entire water base because my cousin has a mascot and he tries to promote it to help people that have how do you say that, but impediments, well, schooling impediments, right? So he's trying to do that and use that mascot, and you probably saw him on shows and everything. It's called Gebedu the mascot.
Okay.
And same thing, he gets out of that mascot. I don't know how he does it. I would never do that. I don't care how much you pay me. And they go on golf course with the sun just blasting on them all day. I don't
Uh,
know why they do that, man. But
okay.
everybody, he loves it. He would do nothing else. That's like you tell him stay in a mascot the rest of the day. He doesn't care. He's going to do it. By the way, if you need a mascot, let me know.
Sounds good.
But so how did so that started that way. But why did you keep going? I
Well,
mean,
I bought it, and then
if that's one mascot, I mean that
yeah, the
doesn't mean
kid
you
did
start a
it,
business.
and
Yeah,
then the mascot was sitting in the garage. So I told my wife, I said, "Why don't you rent it out?" She's like, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, all these people are getting screwed paying $450.
right.
Let's rent it out to them for a day, and then they could do it for their kid, and then they bring it back." And it started that way.
Without a person in it, just the suit.
Yeah, I would just rent you the suit.
That's smart.
And then for my son and my daughter, we bought like these, the bouncy houses, the les jeux gonflables.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, why don't we rent those too? And we start renting those, and 10 years later, we have like 60 mascots and I don't know, like 50 bouncers and popcorn machines and cotton candies, and
Where do you
so
keep
it's
all that stuff?
a big storage, big storage unit.
But it's paid off. I mean, it works well enough for you to,
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah. But what took off after that was that I have 50 different services we could give, such as I have clowns, I have magicians, I have face painters, balloon artists. We became so big that it was worth it for them to come through me and lower their prices. So we weren't charging customers more than they would usually pay if they would hire the same artist,
right.
but my cost was lower. So the management part was in our hands. But when we throw a party, it was a party that it's all dressed, as we would call it, is that everything is there and it's
Right.
all under one banner, and that took off that way. So
Is it a business a self-sustained business? It's working and it's not like right now. I'm not talking about COVID, but
yeah,
like I've had a few businesses like that where they would be self. I wouldn't be making any money. I couldn't pay many bills with them, but they were fun. I had them, and it would pay for itself. Is it that type of business, or do you actually make good revenue with it?
makes money.
Makes money.
Yeah,
Wow, that's good.
but a lot of work, but makes money. But look, I still do it myself. I still on Fridays I'm the one giving it to clients.
You have you ever DJ'd? Because you look like a kind of guy that would.
No, my brother's a DJ.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
But you'd be a good DJ for sure.
Thanks.
Entertainer for sure, man.
Thank
You'd probably sell him something at the same time. It's like, let's go to a party. Shit, I don't understand. I just bought a TV.
you.
That's cool. So that business, 10 years, man. That's pretty
10
cool.
years.
And you
And
grew
that
it
too
good.
had up and down, like let's say COVID hit. right before our busiest season starts.
That's true.
So
Summer,
for
yeah.
for like 4 months, we were bleeding. We were making nothing.
Yeah, because you
And
still have to
then,
pay,
well, people weren't throwing parties, right?
right?
You weren't even allowed to promote it. And then we were worried about, if you bring, what if your kid goes in that bouncy house and he's sick, and then we get it back and we open it to clean it? What if we get sick?
Yeah, no, 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 for sure.
The customers now, they call and say, what's your COVID cleaning process? I said, well, we had that process before anyways, because what if your kid had gastro? So we would still disinfect everything that used to come back. It's just that, what if I get it now?
Right.
So we laid off a bit too. It's the last month and a half was fantastic, but before that it was completely finished. But
Plus, the last person that wants COVID is you.
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
seriously,
right? You're already hit right where you don't want it to hit you.
yeah,
My youngest daughter is the same thing, right? The first thing that hits is she gets this deep cough. Well, no matter what it is, it's always there. So the same thing with you. I mean, if you get
yeah,
COVID, you're not going to be happy.
yeah. I don't want to get sick.
No, no, no. But then again, it's not because you're sensitive at that section that COVID is something that affects you, and that's the weird thing about COVID. You don't know
You don't know
who can.
exactly.
Yeah, you don't know who's going to be affected, who isn't. I got it.
You did?
I got it, but before anybody knew about it, like in January. I'll just give you the quick story. I get a little bit sick, and I don't get really hard sick ever. Like I'm a 24-hour kind of guy. No matter how bad it is, I
Hmm.
don't care. 24 hours later, I'm fine. At least I can do whatever I need to do. And this thing hit me, man. And I went downstairs in the house, and I have a guest room, and I just went in there, closed the door, didn't leave for 7 days. Didn't let anybody else there, and I would cough, and every time I would cough, it would hurt so much I thought my ribs were gonna crack.
Really?
Yeah, I really thought I was like not making it out, but I don't like you. I don't go to hospitals. I just take care of myself, and
Yeah.
my best remedy was always been sleep. If you're sick, you sleep. Your body's going to take care of itself. Just sleep.
Hmm.
7 days, man, and I swear to God, I've never felt so bad. And I really thought my rib cage was going to just crack open. Never felt that way in my entire life. And then a month and a half later they start describing this new virus, and they start telling people that they
What you have?
can't breathe. Yeah, I'm like, oh, and it just came out. I was like, no, it doesn't just come out, you freaks. Like I was in January dying from this shit. But yeah, so I think it's been here a lot longer than we think.
Mm,
You know.
okay.
And so HDCom, you
Yeah.
rebranded the company at some point, didn't you?
What changed was that HDCom always existed. HDCom is the franchise that owns, the Bell franchise and the Virgin and the Lucky. And I
Okay.
always ran with the name of Bell. If I would talk to someone, it's like, I own Bell stores. And 2 years ago, I bought out my business partner.
Okay.
And that's when I said, you know what? I think HDCom has a better name, or a better life.
Resonates better.
Life is about perception. Huh? If you
Absolutely.
think, if a lot of people think that Bell is a crook, then if I associate my name to all the time, it's going to be that Haas is a crook too. But the other thing goes too is that if you talk about Videotron, a lot of people say they hate Videotron. Videotron's a crook. So I said, well, let me start pushing with HDCom instead, and then we'll see how it goes. And fantastic. It's
But
a
you can only offer because you can only offer Bell products. You can't go and say Bell, Videoton, and Rogers, can
no,
you?
that's correct. I cannot do that. No, my
Okay.
my deal is with
Bell.
Bell, which then allows me to buy Virgin and allows me to buy Lucky. So that's why I have these three different
Okay.
brands.
And,
Which,
and yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
What I like about it is it covers every aspect. So if you're a business owner, then I'll put you on Bell because the deals are way better. If you need TV and internet and a phone line at home, well, Bell's better. Then if you're a dad that has two kids that they need cell phones to go to school, then Virgin is cheaper, and
Right.
you don't need to have a business plan. If you want just internet at home, well, Virgin is cheaper than Bell, so I put you on. I'll tell you to take Virgin, and then Lucky is like the low end one, no contract, kind of like a prepaid, but that's good for people that come in to the country that are new, that have no credit, or someone that wants a really really cheap plan for their kid or for their grandparents. So I
Right.
cover every aspect. There's no way
Okay.
once you walk in or talk to me that I'll lose you.
I'm very disappointed in one thing, not to,
Um,
towards you,
yeah,
but all communication companies. So I have GPS trackers. I got like so many gadgets that I could put a SIM card in there and track, and I can't because nobody has a tracking or a GPS plan. They had them at the beginning, but I mean nobody has a 10 or a five or $10 a month thing just so we can track our kids, or those watches with the little. Why don't they have that? It's too expensive. The CRTC's too like on them.
I have
Why don't we have those? Because in the States they have them.
I have
You
it.
have them,
Hmm.
so they're cheaper than a
Yeah,
normal cell plan.
yeah. It's a little thing that you could have put in your kid's backpack, or
Yeah, I have the thing. I just want the SIM card,
yeah, I can do that.
and you can get a better plan. So you have those.
Yeah.
Like everywhere I called, they said no, we don't have those plans. It's like 15, $20 a month minimum. I'm like, I don't want $20 HD com. Everybody, you want to track your kids and your future ex-wife like me? HD com. I like that. Okay, I didn't know. See, everywhere I looked, man, and I stopped at all the boutiques, and they kept telling me, no, 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 no. So you need to open a new HD com up north, then.
With pleasure.
Yeah. So let's keep going with that. I like that.
Yeah.
So you went and um, you were talking about a Virgin. So what's the name of the smaller one, which I don't know?
Lucky Mobile.
Lucky Mobile is Bell's also. They
Yep.
own.
Yep.
Okay, and that's probably to compete with the two other ones from their competitors that are cheap and don't work very well there.
Something like that. Let's say like Bell, I would compete against Rogers and Telus.
Right.
Virgin, I compete against Fido and Kudo. And
Right.
then Lucky is like Chatter and Public Mobile. So I have better. Uh, the most important thing in my business is understanding what your client needs.
Right.
Once you understand that, you'll have a better solution than the guy at the other side of the street.
Have you ever told the client, maybe I'm not the best place for you?
Absolutely.
That's good. That's smart. It's client fidelity. That's something I teach and that I coach all the time. It's that if you're truthful with the clients, and another thing I keep telling people is that in today's age, we don't work the same way. The new generations, they don't work on pressure. They don't work at all. They close up like clams on pressure. Like back in the day, they would buy off pressure, but you can't work that way. They
Mhm.
have to feel that you're their best buddy, and if you want them back, because they'll ruin your with Yelp and with everything else, you can get ruined
All
so
right.
quickly. You need to be smart. And those scammers, look at all the scammers like that right now. You and I, we preach a lot online, right? Through our Instagrams and our Facebooks, and like when we're happy about something, we show it and we talk about success, but we're not slogan shovelers, right? We don't just shovel shit and say, oh yeah, it's easy, just think about it and you'll be the king of the world, and whatever. And so look at the guys that are coming out right now, like most of them right now are going bankrupt. The 10x guy, what's his name, Cardone,
Yeah, Grant Cardone.
bankruptcy. He lost everything, full
Yeah.
bankruptcy. He just lost everything like a month ago, still selling his 10x plan. What the hell are you selling, man? You don't have a plane, you don't. So that thing, like all these shovelers, bullshit shovelers, are not are not making it anymore. Why? Because people don't buy bullshit anymore. They don't work under pressure. Okay, you're 13, 14, 15, you'll believe that, even 20. But at some point, you can't renew your clients because you can't create fidelity, because 90% of the guys you promised 10x to will not make it. Will even if you tell them you don't need to go to school, you'll be a genius and you can own all the companies in the world. There's still that natural picking that not everybody makes it.
Mhm.
That plan you chose, it may not be the good plan for you, no matter how great you think you are, you know. And I think running a business today, like what you said, if that client knows that you're there to serve them so that they come out with the best deal possible, and they make a friend, and they're under the impression that they got good advice from someone they trust, then you are sure that your business will last forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it's more and more true because of the internet.
Well, look, I've been when I meet clients, if I don't know them, I always say when I come, it's just to study what you have. If it's better than what I could offer you, I'll just tell you, stay where you are. And it's happened many times when I show up and they have these amazing deals because, or they've been there for so long, or they walked in when there was a big promotion. And I'll tell them, listen, it's the best plan right now. If ever you decide to change phones, that's
Yeah.
when they won't leave you that plan anymore. Don't sign. Call me.
Right.
Let me see what I could offer you, and then I'll tell you what to do.
That
But a
makes
lot of
sense.
clients came back like 2, 3 years later. And
Yeah.
they still call, Hans, you remember what you offered me? Yeah. It's like, well, can we look at it again? I'm like, well, what I offered you 3 years ago doesn't exist, but we'll sit back and look at what we could do. And I don't think I've lost any clients.
That's good. I mean, that's the secret to success, fidelity. En français, on dit fidéliser un client. So,
Right.
I don't, how do you say that in English?
They're like that.
Yeah. Sorry to all our English listeners, which is 99.9% of everybody. Um, okay, so now talk to me about easy leads because that's really intriguing to me. What's
Yeah.
easy leads?
Easy leads will actually pitch to me, and then I bought them out.
Okay, what is it? What do they
Uh,
sell? What do
we
you
do
sell? What is it?
data collection. Um, what I noticed, a lot of clients or a lot of business owners know nothing about their clients.
Okay.
My business is different because when you walk in, what I need from you is every info possible, which is your date of birth, where do you live, your phone number. So I know everything about you, your email. If you go to a restaurant, if I haven't booked online, and you'll be surprised how many people book online and the restaurant owner doesn't have any info. Like they don't keep that info about the client. So what we came up as a solution is that it goes hand in hand with this business because every restaurant has Wi-Fi.
Right.
Every mall has Wi-Fi, and that we give away for free because it's unlimited anyways. So it's just an added value by giving Wi-Fi to clients. And I said, well, why not maximize when you give that Wi-Fi? So when you give the Wi-Fi, the client has to connect to a portal, and that portal, if they agree to, gives us the info, meaning their email address, their date of birth, or whatever they decide to give us. And then through that you're giving free Wi-Fi, which I could offer. I could also offer this to you. So end of the month, I could tell you, listen, I don't know, let's say La Belle Province.
Right.
You had 300 customers that came in this month. And I could tell you how many of them came back because if they reconnect to Wi-Fi, well, it shows to me that reconnected. This is a customer that came back again. And then why don't you target those customers with promotions after? So then we do email campaign and we do data collection.
Do you do reverse marketing with it? That data?
Meaning?
Meaning you can track where they go online and see where they've been and what they like, and then go back and give them ads through that.
If they connect through Facebook, yes.
Okay. So, well, you can do it with, by the way, you can do it with Google AdWords also, just so you know.
Okay.
So you just check it out. So I've implemented a system similar to that. Now that I know that you offer it, we'll talk about it. But when I build this strategy, I usually add data mining, right? And I usually add, again, fidelization or whatever you call it in English. That's also important. And what's great about it is that those systems now, they can because of the cookies, once they log on through your system, because of the cookies, you can track them wherever they go online. And they have to agree to that, obviously.
Yeah.
That makes it a lot, like you can make a lot of money with that. The only thing you're not allowed to do is sell that to another vendor. So it has to be either HD.com that uses it because they're the main vendor, or if it's a hotel, the hotel could use the data for themselves, or they can sell advertising within their own thing, right? So let's say, for instance, you're a hotel and you have Aviron shampoos. You could make a deal with Aviron shampoos that they're on special at your hotel, right? So you have like a double advertising, but you can't sell Aviron. The possibility to sell ads to those businesses, then you'd be in trouble. The Better Business Bureau would knock at your door saying, you're not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
They probably still do though. So that's an amazing technology. I'm happy to hear that you're doing that. And it's the future by far. And a lot of, like, McDonald's does that with their own system.
Yeah. Which is Bell.
Is it the Bell system? Yeah. There you go. So I'm Bell here. I'm really happy with the service I have. We didn't have Fibe here. Like I've been on slow speed or no speed forever. And they brought in Fib because of the COVID. I think they were forced into it a little bit. by the government. And so now I'm at 1.5 at home, and I'm testing it, and I'm never under 8 or 900. So
Crazy.
yeah, but I dedicated the line though. So one fiber optic line should go to 2,500. And if you take big enough of a plan, usually they're not going to split the rest. They'll just leave it alone.
Yeah.
So that gives you more speed. And plus,
Okay.
we're only 300 homes around here. And now I'm selling the house, so after 3 months of high speed internet,
You gotta go.
yeah, woo. So Easy Leads again. When did you buy that?
It's a year. It's a year that we're open.
Okay, and did he already have a pretty good?
It was going really well until the COVID hit. We
Right, because
offered
your clients are restaurants and
98% restaurants, and I offered to put a stop to everything.
okay,
I said, listen, we'll just put a pause on everything. There's no point of you paying me monthly when there's nothing happening. And I'm just trying to build that relationship. I'm not here to screw anyone. And one of my stores in a mall, and we closed down. And I have my own system in my stores also. So the last thing I want to do is charge someone for something that they can't do anything with it.
So how did you deal with that? I mean, part of your business can be done online and through communications. I know you have your store, your website is actually on the Bell server. Am I wrong? I think so. The HDCom website is on the Bell server, or through a Bell link anyway.
Yeah, you could, if you want to book an appointment, then it brings you to a Bell website.
Okay.
But we can't sell online. The reason why we don't do online, a lot of fraud. So somebody can, pull up your IDs, and I don't know who you are,
Right.
and say, well, I want 2 iPhones with this plan, and I activate it, ship it to them, but it's not you. That's a big no-no. So we do not sell online. If I don't know you, I won't sell to you.
But you can sell anything but plans, accessories, and everything else.
Yeah, those I could sell. Yeah. But that Amazon kills me. So I didn't even push through selling online for the accessories. What I have going for me, which I did for the last 14 years, and I'm glad I stuck to it, I give personal service. So if you want something, if you wanted 2 phones, I will still come up to you and bring it to you. We did that from the beginning. We still do it. So the reason why we didn't die during COVID was that people that needed phones or needed anything, they will still call us. Do you do it? Of course we do. If you're comfortable enough for me to come to you, I'll come to you. I'll ship you the phone for free. But we got to talk like this. I got to see you face to face. And you have to let me come meet you. If I can't meet you, I can't serve you. The last thing I want, tell me.
Your brick and mortar boutique, that you could. I mean, the one in the shopping mall you can't, but the one on the corner or on the street you could.
Yeah, you could still open up, but it was dead. It wasn't. It was nothing like it used to be. Listen, I'm not gonna lie. My numbers are not up compared to last year. My numbers are down.
Of course.
But so is my cost. So it's like I played with. Well, listen, I can't afford to pay you 10 grand anymore a month.
No.
So I can't keep you, unfortunately. Maybe I'll bring you back if things work out again, but for now I can't.
Right.
So I kept the lower cost ones that are very efficient too, and they're happy that they still have their job,
right.
Which allowed me to survive. Like I signed for this location 2 weeks before COVID.
Were you able to negotiate your leases because of COVID, or like that's not unnegotiable? Did you go get the grant?
No, I did not.
No.
Are you
thinking
figured,
about it?
No, if I needed it, I was gonna do it, but then I don't need it, so I didn't do it.
Okay. How much were they offering? 40 grand, I think, right? 40 or 60?
Yeah.
40?
Yeah.
That's still pretty good.
It is good.
It's like 1 month rent for you. You're not going through much.
Yeah.
It's like you're still stuck the next month.
No, I didn't use it. But I'm still happy. Things are still good. Listen, business is still moving. I'm not losing money.
Right. As long as you're not losing money. Well,
I'm not losing any money.
Even if, as long as you are not personally losing money, and you still, that's fine. Yeah. Plus, I don't know if you invested in stocks, but it would have been a good time.
You know what? I haven't. I met someone, a friend of mine, about 2 weeks ago, talking about it. It's always felt to me as if it's gambling. I'm not a very big gambler. If I lose money, it gets me really upset.
Right.
Unless it was my fault, then I can't get mad. Such as if I get a speeding ticket and I knew I was speeding, I don't get mad if I get it. But if you give me a stop sign ticket and I know I stopped, I'll lose my shit. So
Okay, so
Gambling.
I'll give you a different perspective for the
Yeah,
next time, for the next COVID hit.
yeah.
Um, you need to think about it like your business. For instance, you look at the need of your clients and you fill that need, and that's the way you can make money, right?
Hmm.
Okay. So when the COVID hit, what did people need? They needed to
Yeah,
buy. Where did
exactly.
they need to buy it?
That's
Online. Who was going to take care of that? Facebook, Amazon, and what else had to go? Like Tesla had to go up, right? I mean, there was no way those three companies would go down. So those are the companies you had to invest in, and then you have to think, how are they going to pay? Amazon doesn't have a payment system, so it would be PayPal, it would be Stripe. So there are ways that it's not a gamble because you know the economic situation is really bad. So you go and you invest in places you know because of the situation, it cannot go down. It'll go up, but you have to do it knowing that you're selling as soon as the COVID, like as soon as it hits too high, let's say 1.5, or like Tesla went a full split, right? People put 5 grand, they ended up with 10 grand, and now they're with two stocks at almost 15 grand in less than 3 months.
hmm
Amazon went from 1,700 to almost 5,000 in 3 months. That's, it's not a
that.
gamble. See,
That's the way he explained it to me too.
yeah, it's probably the best way. So I had a return. Sadly, I had other investments and I closed down a lot of companies, so I didn't have that much liquidity to invest. But I ended up doing 1.5, so it's pretty good. And a friend of mine did 2%, 100% profit. I did 1.5, so it's still pretty good.
Yeah,
There's nobody's going to give you 50%, 50% markup in 3 months. I
yeah,
mean,
true.
only the stock market can do that. So
True.
I did Facebook, PayPal. Did I do Bitcoin? No, I didn't do Bitcoins. I did a little bit of pot, but
Hmm.
just a little bit, which did nothing. And I bought a lot of Air Canada, a lot.
Oh, you
And
did?
yeah, and I'm gonna keep buying it because there's one company that the government cannot let close. It's Air Canada. So once the borders start opening and everything gets back to normal, they can only go up, and they can't go much lower. And even if they do, they'll still go up. So at $2, I think they're at like $15 a share.
Yeah.
So you buy a grand worth of shares, you're not really losing much.
How much?
Um,
How much was it at before?
I think it was a 50 or 60.
Okay.
Yeah. It'll go back to about that 50, 56. So if you have a $12 or $15 share, you're making like 4 or 5 times the amount of money well, 3 times the amount of money you had.
Yeah.
So those stocks I'm buying, the ones I know like cannot go down and government can't let them close, a bit like BlackBerry, right? If I would have had the money back then when BlackBerry crashed, I would have bought a lot of stock because I knew that BlackBerry had the intellectual property that they're selling to Apple and to Samsung, and all these guys are using technology that comes from
Hmm.
their patents. So even if they stop making phones, they'll still never go bankrupt, right? They
Yeah.
can go, but anyway, yeah, BlackBerry
Okay.
is a very special company.
Yeah.
RIM, it used to be called RIM, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Mm.
So what's the plan? Where are you going with all this? Like, do you keep opening stores? Are you still fulfilled by that? Do you
Uh,
want to do new stuff?
no, I'm opening more stores. I'm in heavy into real estate. I always loved it. It's my true love. It's real estate.
So you're heading that way. You're a commercial, or you're buying
You
doors?
know what? I'm starting to wet my beak a bit with commercial also.
Okay.
I think a lot of people that own commercial and that are having stores closing down. I think maybe they're panicking a bit, and maybe it'll be the right time
That's
to
a good
start
point.
them. Yeah,
That's a good point. Are you buying rental doors? Like, I don't know if you
I
saw the one I had with Nick there, but yeah.
I still own some.
Okay.
I just sold two of them, and I want to buy Plexus instead. But
Okay.
no, I like it. I like. I'm not. My first experience was with that fourplex that I told you when I was 20 years old.
Right.
It wasn't that much of a good experience because of two of my tenants that I had. So when I started going back into real estate, I went a bit more high end, so I could have different clientele, and that was a positive outcome for me. So I had no issues. I own condos downtown, and they're rented very high rent, very professional people that live in it, and no issues. So I'm going to plexes, but a bit higher end plexes,
Okay.
to have that peace of mind still, versus what I went through before.
Where did you buy? Did you buy at the Canadian Tower? Where'd you buy?
No, what's funny is that at that time when the Tournée Canadien opened up, I owned season tickets, and they had sent out an invitation of VIP, and you can get first bid. And I went, and I said, no, it's overpriced. I bought on the Gay Village, right next to Pont Jacques Cartier.
Right, right, right. Oh,
I
that's
got
nice.
I got a better deal there.
But they renovated a lot of that sector.
They did, yeah. Where I bought was like a dump, that an old building that they knocked down, and they started building condos, and I picked
And
up there.
is that like right in front? There's also the old. I don't know what they used to do there, but like right by the river, with yeah, right by the river. There's this huge building that they're rebuilding as condos also.
That's the huge building is next to me.
Okay.
That's
Oh,
going up.
you're that close?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'll have to go check it out. I go there all the time. I love that sector.
So yeah,
It-
no, I like real estate.
yeah,
To
I
me,
agree.
it feels safer than, maybe I won't make as much as stocks, but I think I have a better peace of mind. I mean, listen, some of the real estate I made huge return on it.
Yeah.
Some I didn't make much, but it was
But
getting paid off.
rental is smart. Watch the podcast I did with Nick and Nicholas Andromedas. Nick Andromedas, you're gonna like
Yeah,
it. So he used to be VP at Sony Music,
yeah,
and he quit everything and moved to Dallas and started just buying doors.
yeah.
So they're a group of people and they're buying together, and he's happy, man. From VP of Sony pictures to real estate guy, and that's it. That's all he does, and he's happy. And he does something different than I do. Like he doesn't like to buy anymore. He doesn't want to buy a house where he lives in because to him it's an expense. It's a
Mm-hmm,
liability. I like owning a house, and I don't know why it reassures me, I guess. And
mm-hmm,
I hate paying $2,000 a month to somebody when I could be giving it, for my house.
mm-hmm.
But it's a smart move. Real estate is a smart move, and it's one of the rare things that if you don't live in it, is a proven stable way of increasing your income and making sure that you get a retirement. I mean, everybody that I know that have a good retirement add
Great.
real estate.
Yep.
So we have a couple of houses in my family, and I've been trying to convince everybody to sell the house because the total value we could go commercial easily,
Mm.
but because I don't know, fourplex, sixplex, that's a lot of taking care of a lot of people.
Yeah.
I like the other concept because he says 60 doors, then you hire a company and you don't lose money.
Yeah.
That's pretty smart too.
It
And your
is.
kid, tell me a little bit because we get more into the private part of your life. Your wife got sick for a while. How did that affect not you emotionally? Because I know it was horrible,
Yeah.
but how did that affect business and everything else? Because you must have been you must have been by her side the entire process.
Yeah, well, my wife got sick a little bit over 4 years ago. May 15th, she didn't wake up anymore. She had a brain infection, which was meningitis, and it caused a lot of damage to her. And it took 26 days in the hospital before she came out. And then, she had to learn again how to write, how to cook, how to eat, how to walk. Yeah, the only sequel, the only scar that's left is memory issues. So we could be talking right now, and 2 days from now, she won't remember that part.
Okay. Does
What
it come
that
back
did?
later?
No,
No.
it's over 4 years now, and they said this is the latest. It's not gonna. It did affect me. That caused me to buy my partner out, my ex-partner.
Okay.
I didn't go to work for a long time, and it didn't matter to me that I had to be at the office or not. But I also never missed a call. So if a client would call, I would still deal with everything and then ship it to the office. And it brought some tension between me and my ex partner. And I'm the kind of guy that or do something about it or shut the fuck up. So that's what happened. I did something about it,
Yeah.
and it didn't work out like I wanted it to. I lost a friend in there, but
Oh, did you?
yeah,
Oh, that sucks.
yeah.
But that
But
happened.
it was, the friendship was lost at that point already. So it's just, how much you want to let it bleed. And then I made an offer, and
And he accepted it.
after a few months, he accepted it. Yeah.
Well, like you said, at some point, someone's got to make a decision, and he wasn't
Yeah,
obviously he wasn't going to buy you out. So at some point, he's got to accept.
yeah.
Wow. So that must have been a really rough time. And the kids, how did the kids handle that?
The kids, they were small. You know, my daughter was first grade. My son was in second grade. It was very weird for them. I got lucky that my parents were, very, very involved. So they moved into my house while I wasn't there for a month. I took care of the kids. I would see my kids 2 hours a day. I would come home as soon as they would finish school, stay with 2 hours, and then go back to the hospital. Uh,
Wow.
they're affected by it, but thank God mommy's around, and thank God we
Yeah,
could afford
that's amazing.
being all together all the time. I'm home a lot, but I'm home a lot because I set up my life, thank God, properly before, so
Right.
that I could be home.
So perseverance is a huge factor. And
Oh
again,
yeah, yeah, never give up. You know what? Life is something that my mentor, a really really good friend of mine, said, because I have a show also. It's called Inflection Show, and
okay,
I'll
cool.
bring you on when we restart, because of COVID we stopped.
Okay, no
Um,
problem.
and he was on it, and one of the things he said that stuck to me, and I liked it a lot. I'm not one to feel bad for myself when something happens. It's get up and move on.
Yeah,
And it's something he said that I really liked, and it stuck. You know, when somebody says, "Why is this happening to me?"
right.
Or I was good, my life was good, and then fuck, this happened to me, and what he said was that things don't happen to you, things just happen,
Right.
and that stuck to me. So as soon as, and I don't like complainers. If somebody complains, it's always the same thing: or do something, or shut the fuck up. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So after he said that, I'm like, what? I like it a lot. When even my kids, when they say, "Oh, you know what, Daddy, I can't believe it happened to me." No, 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 it didn't happen to you. It just happened. Now you have to deal with it. How do you want to deal with it? Do you want to, get into a ball and fucking cry about it, or you want to stand up and find a solution to it? So things happen, man. Things happen. They don't just
They
happen to
do.
me. There's people that have way bigger problems than me. Uh,
It's a really good way of looking at it. I'm gonna keep that in mind. I'm like you. I just get up. I mean, I can't stay lying down. I do complain once in a while, but I complain knowing that I'm responsible for whatever it is situation I'm in. 90% of the time, 90% I can track back why I'm in that situation.
mhm.
Even when someone else does something to me, I can still track back a specific moment where I could have made the decision not to go there. Like when I closed my company, I had partnered with a friend of mine, a childhood friend of mine, whom I still consider my friend. We're not talking much because it was a rough part of the business, but like I can't blame him for anything, and maybe he's blaming me, but I can't blame him for anything because at the beginning, I decided to bring him in as a partner. I
Mhm.
mean, it was my decision to partner up with them, and whether was it a good decision, was it his fault, my fault, it doesn't matter. I mean, I take my part of the blame because I made decisions along the way. I tried to save him time. I tried to save his situation, and I tried to do more, hoping that eventually he'd come in and all that. And I made a lot of decisions that created this problem. And even if I said, "Well, I did it because I'm a good guy and I did this," and yeah, but those decisions still brought you to wherever you are, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So you
100%.
buy a nice, you have a beautiful car, you have a BMW, I think, and you have
Mm.
M series, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, S series, sorry, no
It's
M series. Yeah,
yeah.
S is Audi. Yeah, so we make that decision. We buy a beautiful car. So if let's say it's costing us 2,000 a month, that's rent. If at the end of the month you're out of money, but you're still paying your BMW,
Mm.
you know that the decision or the situation you're in is because you're still paying
Mhm.
an expensive car because you decided to buy things and have a certain life, and now that business isn't as good, you're stuck. And you said something in someone else's podcast that I loved. You said that you, and I think that's another thing we have in common, you have the ability to adapt. So you can go from being broke to being rich to being normal to being broke, and you always find a way to survive through that. And I have a lot of admiration for that.
Thank you.
And I think that your childhood and everything you went through is a big factor of that. And sadly, life seems to keep wanting to remind you
Yeah,
of that.
yeah, yeah.
But I'm sure, man, that you're just gonna plow through life,
Thanks, man.
and I know you cannot be you have to be an amazing father because if you instill those values to your kids, just that like you said, life is what it is, and you
Mhm.
need to deal with it. You cannot just sit down and complain about it. Not everybody has that, by the way. Not everybody is capable of that. And that's
Mm.
what I've learned. At 50, I've started to learn that even though I don't understand why certain people complain, it's in them. It's
Yeah,
ingrained in them. You cannot change that. You keep,
yeah,
but no,
yeah.
you can't.
Uh,
Um, so last but not least, before we say goodbye, if you were in conference and everybody was in front of you and you had, let's say, three kids saying, I want to start a business, but I don't know where to start. What would you be your like main advice for anybody that wants to go into business after everything you've been through, so that they don't have to go through the hurdles you had to, or maybe that's
don't,
your advice.
yeah, but don't overthink it and just jump.
And what about money? How do they finance it?
You'll find it. If you really want it, if you badly want it and you think it's the right move, you'll find it.
Smart. And what business would you invest in today if it was you? Like, you look at everything what's going on, and you were 25. Where would you head? What would be interesting to you?
I love what I do. I still think telecom is something that's amazing. If you like it, you'll succeed, and then use it to build other things, which is exactly what I did. The real estate was what gave me the chance to own my first store. But it's funny because after that, it's the store that allowed me to have real estate. So I think if you find your business that could be your cash cow,
Right.
and then don't be stupid. Use that money that you could make to invest in anything. Growing the same business, and then after that, if you like other things, and if you like to have fun, just take that money and invest it in somewhere else. But I really think you just got to do it. And if you think it's
Okay.
going to be easy, it's not working. It's not going to work. If it's easy, it's not working already. There's an
But
issue.
I don't know if you agree with me, but I think if it's easy, the money will leave just as
Oh
fast.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It won't work.
Yeah, that's my experience. My experience, every time I did a business and made a lot of money quickly, I
It
lost it
stopped
just
quickly too.
yeah, really quickly.
Yeah, yeah,
And when I made money slowly, it stuck around.
yeah, yeah. So just
So
jump, just do it.
okay, nice. Uh Telecommunication, 5G, the panic.
It's bullshit.
Yeah, you and I both know that. It's
Yeah, yeah,
bullshit. It's half bullshit, let's say.
yeah.
Because if you add that technology to everything else, it's bullshit. But if we can reduce everything else because 5G is here, it would actually be beneficial. That's the way I see it, right? Like in a house, I don't know how many freaking antennas I have in there, but if it was only 5G or a technology powerful enough to just take care of it, then you'd
Yeah,
have one wavelength and you'd
yeah,
have no
yeah.
problem.
People are gonna complain no matter what.
Yeah, yeah. But it makes sense, that they panic, and it creates an obligation to think, and it creates an obligation for governments
Oh yeah,
to tell you what the hell they're doing. Because
yeah,
if
yeah,
nobody complained, they just step
yeah.
all over us, right?
Good point.
So, brother, thank you so much
Thanks,
for
man.
coming
Thanks
on,
for having me. That was pretty cool.
and I hope, yeah, I'll hit you back for sure. We'll have another conversation. Like I was telling my last guest, the concept, we're supposed to be doing roundtables once in a while
Yeah,
when COVID stops. I'd really like you to be part of one of the roundtables if you'd like.
my pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
So it
buddy.
was Os the Boss with us today, and HD.com. And by the way, trackers, kids watches, you know what? He
You
may
got
be
it.
your man. So go check him out. Thanks, man.
Thanks a lot,
Take
buddy.
care.
Take
Bye.
care.
So that was it. Wow, what a great conversation. Love this guy. He is amazing. Um, so be like him, man. You know what? He's had all of the hurdles in his life. He went through it. It was difficult. He keeps kind of getting back up, and he's not afraid. That's the secret. He is just not afraid. So he just plows through, and if something happens, he adapts. So make sure you understand that's very important in life. If you want to go through whatever you're going through, you need to know how to adapt, and you need to reject fear. Either that or use it as your fuel. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the show, and we're going to see you. We're going to post this on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google Podcast, Amazon. It'll be live. Well, it won't be live. Sorry, it'll be on and you can watch. And we'll see you next week with our new show. And next week, I'll be announcing a change for Everybody Is Always Right, and give you a new schedule. And I hope everybody's going to be there. So thank you so much, everybody. Take care. This is Ghislain Roy, aka Styles, signing off. Take care of yourself.